Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem Rakakwadash, Shalom Kasab Bakar, um, to you faithful brothers out there. And much respect to you Waf out there that's in the spirit, you true believers. And I just wanted to go over a few things real quick. The rebellion, the spirit of rebellion, which was it, like when you go back to um Yahushai, Stephen. Good examples of rebellion is how they rebelled against Yahushai and his new laws, and they're still rebelling to this day. By guys teaching the old laws of Moses and the old Passover, they're not advancing you to actually understanding the Yahushai is being your Passover, or they're not letting Yahushai be that Sabbath day or that high holy day or the new moon or your rest. Yahushua, he becomes a rest in the spirit. But as back in those times and now, it's a high level of rebellion. Um, the true rebellion is rebelling against the Lord and his commandments that he left. The Lord said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Now, the commandments that the Lord left is to love the Lord and to love your brother. And the heavier matters of the law are faith, mercy, and discernment. But what we have is a generation of vipers. Just like when the Lord was here, now it's even more worse because you have more vipers, you have more snakes, you have more scorpions. That's why the Lord said, the works that I do, you'll do greater, because you'll be in a more adverse time. It'll be more wicked. It'll be more people. It'll be more camps. You see what I'm saying? And the works that you will do, it'll be greater, because when you look at it, the world will be more evil. So your works now, the time we're in now, it wasn't nearly as evil as it was back in the times. It was evil when the Lord was on the scene. Don't get me wrong, and the prophets was on the scene. But now, being this great Babylon the Great, and everybody is rejecting the commandments the Lord left, which that have you follow the old laws of Moses, which that just keeps you in the flesh. We're approaching a time in this truth where you have to advance to the spirit. You have to be in the spirit. You cannot be in the flesh coming upon these times that we're in. Like the Lord said, you have to get the inside clean. And part of you not being in the spirit is rebelling against the new covenant and Yahweh Shai. Now, it may not seem like you're rebelling against the Lord because you're keeping the old laws of Moses, but when you keep the old laws of Moses and the Lord brought new laws that you have to keep, like I say, you have to make the Lord your high holy day in the spirit. You have to make the Lord your rest in the spirit. You have to make the Lord the Passover in the spirit. So that means that everything is going to be of the Lord. It's going to be of love. It's going to be of charity. So if you're not doing this work for that, then you're not of the Lord. So this is what weeds a lot of guys out. So you have these camps set up on the old laws of Moses, which those old laws of Moses, they're in the flesh. And then Moses himself, like I keep saying, I can't say it enough. He said when the Lord came, you would have to follow his laws now. So it's a rebellion against the new covenant. It's a heavy rebellion. This is a heavy time we're living in, which is going to get a lot of people destroyed. That's the thing about the new covenant and how Yahweh Shai walked and the apostles walked. They walked in a way to where they were in the spirit, but they wasn't of this world, so they didn't have no position in the world. Everybody hated the true men of the Lord. You see, this is what you got to understand. And if you're a true man of the Lord, you're going to have a lot of enemies. You're going to have a lot of enemies, man. If you don't have a lot of enemies, then that means that you're not a true man of the Lord. If you're highly esteemed and liked amongst men, then that means you're not of the Lord too. You see, so the true men of the Lord, they're going to be hated in this world. And by us being at the end of the world, we have to understand that it's a heavy spirit of rebellion. So when you rebel against Yahushua, not just the laws of Moses. See, the thing about it, when you deal with these camps and these groups, they're rebelling against Yahushua. Now, they're not necessarily rebelling against the laws of Moses, so they can say, hey, keep the laws. You got to know the laws. But what guys are doing is corrupt because they're not teaching you the laws of Yahushua. So we're dealing with a very perverse and corrupt generation which don't want to follow the new laws that the Lord left, because the new laws that the Lord left were laws that you had to keep through the spirit, and this don't allow you to get clout or fame. Now, because guys are not teaching the new laws of Moses, they're not teaching the commandments the Lord left. What this does is it keeps you guys in these groups. You're in a carnal mind frame because you're thinking about carnal lamb, these carnal dates and the carnal high holy days, which now, if you don't make Yahushua your West, and I seen a video where a guy's talking about labor to come into the rest. Well, they don't understand that because they're in the flesh. They're keeping the old laws of Moses when the whole mystery about this thing is only the true men of the Lord are going to be keeping Yahushua as the Passover and the high holy day. So this is another mystery. So as we're keeping the high holy day of Yahushua and making the Lord our rest, you see, guys rebelling against that because Yahushua is the second in command over everybody. When you actually rebel against that, then you're a fucking witch. And if you teach other guys not to really follow Yahushua, then that means you're not of the Lord. You're rebelling. This is 1 Samuel 12 and 15. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you as it was against your fathers. And that's what's happening right now. The Spirit of the Lord is against camps and groups and shit like that, because what they're deliberately getting you to do is not to follow the commandments the Lord left in the letters in red, which is very fucking reprobate. See, rebellion is a very it's a very high charge. So it's like you had the laws of Moses in the old Passover. Okay, we get that. Ain't nothing wrong with like practicing that and doing this and that. But that's not where your sacrifice is. That's not where the high holy is, and that's not where the Lord is. The Lord is not answering those things. It tells you that in Isaiah the 1st chapter. The Lord's not hearing the high holy days or these solemn assemblies like that anymore. What he's hearing is you having a heart of flesh, which is the heart of Yahushua, which means that you love your brother and you're willing to die for your brother. Now, if you're not really in that spirit, then you're not really of the Lord. That's why the Lord is doing this real quick. Revelations 2 and 16, repent or else I will come unto thee quickly and I will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. See, this is important because when you understand the spirit and you rebel from the spirit, then the sword of the Lord is going to come down on you. And so that's what's happening. But the sword of the Lord is not for everybody. You see, just like the spirit is not really for everybody out there. It's not out there like that. It is something that it's only going to be for a few. Like the new covenant. Guys are going off keeping the old laws of Moses. But what you have to understand is the new covenant and Yahushua, he's not for everybody. He said he's only praying for, he's not praying for everybody. Matter of fact, let me read that. John chapter 17, verse 8, it says, "For I have given unto them the words which thou givest me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I have come out of thee, and they have believed that thou didst send me. I pray for them, I pray not for the world." So the Lord is not dealing with, he's not dealing with Y gates in the world and shit like that. This is what you have to understand. Yeah, this is what you really have to understand. You have to understand that he's not dealing in fucking Y gates and temples built with hands, etc., etc. So now when you understand that, then you can understand these camps and these groups. Yeah, they're teaching these prophecies. Yeah, they're bringing all this out. Yeah, they sound so good. But they're not following Yahushai's commandments that he left. He left specific commandments for you to follow. But you have to understand that if you're not in the spirit, then you're not going to follow the Lord's commandments. You're going to follow the commandments of the camp. And that's what guys are doing. They're following the commandments of the camp, and they're not following the commandments of Yahushua. So this is the problem in these last days. So guys are putting the sacrifice, they're putting their the sacrifices of Moses, when the true sacrifice is Yahushua. Now you have to be in the spirit of Yahushua, which the scripture tell you in Matthew 23 that they omit faith, mercy, and discernment, which are the key elements to the spirit. And the scripture tell you you'll be hated of all men. So, like I said, if you're not really hated for this truth, then you're not of the Lord like that. If you're being honored in this world, and guys, you know, like if you get more love than hate dealing with this truth, then basically you're not of the Lord, because the ones that's doing the true work of the Lord, they're hidden and they're unseen. They're not like getting clout and fame, because the gifts have destroyed guys' fucking hearts. So now you're in a state to where you're in the flesh. The old laws of Moses, they put you in the flesh. So now when you rebel against what the Lord brought, that leaves you in the flesh. So you're not in the spirit and the covenant of Yahushua. That's why this thing is very is deep like that. You know, it's very deep like that. So this is the same thing that the Lord was talking about. The Lord was letting you know, like, he was over the Sabbath. Like, fuck that Sabbath. Now you can heal on the Sabbath. When you're in the spirit of Yahushua, the Lord is the Sabbath. He's the rest in the spirit every day. Now you could heal in the spirit every day. This is dealing in the spirit now. But what we have is these groups have been set up to get you to keep those old laws of Moses, which the spirit is not in the old laws of Moses. It's in the new covenant. So what you have to understand with that is only a few are going to make it to the spiritual side, and they're going to make it to Yahushua. And a lot of guys are going to be destroyed in this Y-gate, which is deliberately being rebellious against the commandments Yahushua left. They're not teaching the new covenant like that. You see, so guys that's not teaching the new covenant, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. Let me read this real quick. John chapter 14, verse 21, it says, "He that hath my commandments," matter of fact, I'm going to read verse 15. John 14 and 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. So if you love Yahweh Shai, you have to keep his commandments. It's not about the old laws. So these elders and these guys, they're teaching you the old laws. They're keeping you in the flesh, and they're Xing out the Lord. That's what they're doing. When they tell you to keep the old laws of Moses, and they're not making the Lord the high holy day, they're not making Yahweh Shai the Sabbath or your high holy day, or they're denying the new covenant, telling you that you're not in the covenant, then they're not getting you to understand the new covenant laws and Yahweh Shai, what he brought. Then what they're doing is they're deliberately slapping the hand of Yahweh Shai away. Because when Yahweh Shai came and brought the new covenant, when he died for it, he brought, along with the new covenant, he brought mercy. The laws of Moses, real quick, let me read this. I know I always read it, but Paul tells you right here in Acts that Yahweh Shai and his covenant is going to do something that the laws of Moses could never do. So it's very important that you really read between the lines, and you don't get caught up in just teaching prophecies. You have to be really deeply understanding Yahweh Shai. And you hear these guys, they talk about, you got to be obsessed with the truth. Well, that's the thing. You guys are not obsessed with Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the truth, not just prophecies. So when you're obsessed with Yahweh Shai, then you're in his spirit, then you're in his covenant. You guys have thought of a way to get you to teach this truth without you actually believing in that new covenant. The sound of the new covenant to guys, it really brings it brings a bad taste to guys' mouth, man. And it's heavy how guys are really rebellious against the new covenant. The only way you're rebellious against the new covenant is because you've been taught that you have to keep the old laws of Moses like that. But that's why the Lord came, because he knew that you were going to have men on high seats corrupting the word. Let me read this real quick. Acts 13:39. And by him all that believe are justified from all things from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses. So Yahweh Shai's laws are 2 times more heavier than Moses' laws. It's 2 times more heavier than cooking a fucking lamb. It's more heavier than keeping a new moon. It's more heavier than keeping the Sabbath, because Yahweh Shai becomes your rest in the spirit. So now when you go to Galatians real quick, Galatians 5, what are the fruits of the spirit now? Galatians 5:22, but the fruits of the spirit is joy, is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, and faith. So now you have peace. This is part of the Lord's rest. When you have rest when you come into Yahweh Shai. You see, now when you keep the laws of Yahweh Shai, you're in the spirit, so you're over the law. You're above the law now when you're in the spirit of Yahweh Shai. So what guys are doing, they're teaching you to be rebellious against Yahweh Shai, which the Yahweh Shai, his laws were made to be kept easier. So that's why I say his burden is light, his yoke is light, because he made the laws easier for you to keep. But what we have is wolves that have came into this truth, grievous wolves, and they can manipulate the flesh and they can make money off the flesh. So what they have done is they're not getting you to follow Yahweh Shai, and ultimately they taught you to be rebellious against Yahweh Shai and to still keep the laws of Moses. Even Moses himself let you know that you're going to have to follow Yahweh Shai. So guys are not following Yahweh Shai because the solemn assemblies, the lamb, the new moons. Yahweh Shai becomes your lamb in the spirit now. That's what the Last Supper was about when he was teaching the Last Supper. Galatians 5:25. For if we live in the spirit, let us also walk in the spirit. So we have to walk in the spirit. How do we walk in the spirit? You walk in that new covenant. You're not in the spirit if you're not in the new covenant. Therefore, guys can just teach not being in the, guys can teach prophecies not being in the spirit. That's what's happening. You got a lot of guys teaching these prophecies and the mark of the beast and all this shit, but they're not in the spirit of Yahweh Shai. They don't have love, mercy, and discernment. They can't discern who's the false prophets. They can't discern their camp. They can't discern none of that. The thing they have is prophecies and all that bullshit. They don't have things to build your character from in the inside. That's what the Lord was doing. When the scribes and the Pharisees would come trying to challenge him, he could challenge them because what he was doing, he was picking their characters. And that's what we're doing. It's not about all these prophecies and all the shit you know. It's about, are you right in your character? Do you really have love in your character? Are you discerning this thing? And do you actually really have faith? This is what the Lord actually brought. And this is a part of the new covenant, which when you're under the old laws of Moses, now you could appear like you know all this knowledge, but then deep down you're a fucking scumbag like these guys in these groups. John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandments. So if you love the Lord, you'll keep his commandments. You see what I'm saying? So what's happening is you're in a wicked setup in these last days, which guys are not getting you to specifically keep those commandments of Yahweh Shai, which that shit is going to get you destroyed if you're not keeping Yahweh Shai and understanding him and having that love for the Lord in your heart. You see what I'm saying? So guys have you actually rebelling. They got you rebelling against the Lord. 1 Samuel 12:15. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you as it was against your fathers. Right? Because Yahweh Shai, he's the volume of the book. So you have to treat Yahweh Shai just like you treat him as the laws of Moses. So understanding that if you rebel against Yahweh Shai and the new laws that he brought, then the Lord said you're a fucking witch. And a lot of these guys, they're witches and they're sorcerers, grand wizards and all this shit, because they're not teaching you to abide in the commandments of Yahweh Shai where the heavier matters are. Because when you go to Matthew 23, they omit the heavier matters, which are faith, mercy, and discernment, which a lot of guys are omitting Yahweh Shai. They're omitting Yahweh Shai, and they're telling you to keep the old laws of Moses, which keeps you in the carnal mind frame. So therefore, a lot of guys, they're not in the rest of they're not able to come into the rest of Yahweh Shai because guys are still in the flesh. So this is what's happening in these last days. John chapter 14, verse 21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he is that loveth me. And I that love, let me read that again. John 14:21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of the Father. And I will love him, and I will manifest myself unto him. Now let's look up that word manifest. So the Lord is manifest to those ones that's actually keeping his laws, that's he keeping his commandments. Now that word manifest real quick. So this is something that you have to understand. A lot of guys, they're rebelling against Yahweh Shai, the new wine, the new covenant, the new song. The new song is based on that new covenant. That's why it's the new song, because Yahweh Shai had to bring a new song, because the old laws, guys are able to be manipulative and corrupt. But when you understand the new covenant, you can see all the guys that's doing that. And that word manifest. So it's heavy, the word manifest.
Strong's G 1718. Emphanizo.
Right, says to manifest, exhibit, to view, to show oneself, to come to view, to appear, to manifest, to indicate, disclose, declare, to make known. So Yahweh Shai is actually making known who he's manifest unto. It's heavy like that. And he's making it known where he's not at too. So it's heavy what's actually going on in these last days. It says to manifest, exhibit, to view, to show oneself, to come to view, appear, to be manifest, indicate, disclose, declare, to make known, inform, be manifest, appear. The Lord is not appearing to everybody, especially if you're not keeping his commandments, which you have to keep these through your mind now. So guys are set up to get you to rebel against those laws. Ultimately, they got you in the flesh because you're not in the spirit of Yahweh Shai, of faith, mercy, and discernment. It says to inform, will, plainly, manifest, show, signify, declare, plainly, appear, show, inform. Right, so the spirit of the Lord is here. It has manifested itself within the few. It's not out there with everybody. This is what you got to understand. The new covenant is highly advanced. That's why everybody's not keeping it. They're keeping the old laws of Moses, which all that shit is of the flesh. The new covenant is totally of the mind. And so guys are rebelling against it because ultimately they're not of Yahweh Shai's fold. You see that? So you can actually teach this word and not be in the spirit of Yahweh Shai. So it's heavy like that. You could use Yahweh Shai's name and you could say all this shit, but ultimately you're not of Yahweh Shai because you're not keeping his commandments. You see what I'm saying? You have to keep his commandments, not the laws of Moses. And that's in the scriptures. We brung out plenty of scriptures to let you know through the scriptures that we're in the covenant. And the covenant is where the spirit is, not the old laws of Moses. That's why guys are in they're in a spaced out carnal spirit, waiting on spiritual power, which the spiritual power is in the covenant. So I mean, a lot of guys that, like I said earlier, a lot of guys, they've lost the battle because they've rebelled against the covenant. You see what I'm saying? So it's heavy. It's a heavy time that we're in. And I want to go into this word. I want to go into new wine. Mark 2:22. Because ultimately, a lot of guys, they're not of the Lord, so they can't receive this new wine. This is what you got to understand too. So the Lord told us that the Lord let us know that you can't put the new wine in old bottles. So like I said the other day, a lot of guys are not going to be able to transition to the new covenant and to the new wine. You see what I'm saying? Mark chapter 2:22. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine doeth burst the bottles. The wine is spilled and the bottles will be marred. But new wine must be put into new bottles. You see that? So these guys, they're not able to come into the new covenant because they're of those old bottles. You see what I'm saying? So like guys teaching this truth and they're teaching all this shit, but they're in the old laws of Moses. Therefore, you can't put the new covenant into most of these guys because they're not of the new covenant. They gotta die on this side. You see what I'm saying? Then when they come back, they can be under the covenant. That's why a lot of guys are rejecting the covenant, because they're of this world. So it's spiritual like that. So you can't put new wine in these old bottles. Just like these old elderly guys, they're set in their ways. So you can't get them to be like, hey, you gotta make your house shy your high holy day, because these guys they're a part of this world already. So you can't put new wine in old bottles. You see? Let me jump down. Mark 2:27. And he said unto him, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. So the Lord is over your high holy days in the spirit. But you have to acknowledge that in the spirit. You have to acknowledge that in the spirit, that the Lord is over all your high holy days. So how do you keep those high holy days? You acknowledge Yahweh Shai. You make him your Passover. That means that when you're in the spirit of the Lord, then you have that mark of exemption. You make Yahweh Shai your rest. You make him your high holy day. So basically you make this whole thing of Yahweh Shai when you come to that new covenant. And like I said, man, if you're not a man of the Lord unless you have a lot of enemies, and me and us brothers, man, we really do have a lot of enemies out there. You see, this is what you got to understand. This comes with the territory. We've been had enemies. We've been had all types of scoffers. We've been had all types of guys that don't like what we're doing. We've been had that. So all you brothers need to understand that, man. Us brothers over here, we're nothing of this world. We're nothing like this world. Therefore, the world fucking hates us. As the scriptures say, you'll be hated of all men. And that's part of the commandments too. That's part of the commandments too. So guys that's being double honored, that means that they're not of the Lord. Everything in the new covenant is spiritual. It's not nothing. The new covenant is not really carnal like that. You see what I'm saying? As far as you being honored, when they was talking about give them double honor, that mean in the spirit you got to honor these men, through the spirit. These guys have made it of the flesh because they're following the old laws of Moses. So guys are in the flesh. The new covenant, it puts you in the spirit. You see, so you can't put new wine in the old bottles. The new wine is the new song, which is in the new covenant, which when you're in that new covenant, that gives you the heart of flesh, that's the heart of Yahweh Shai. So guys are denying and rebelling against the commandments of Yahweh Shai that let you know that they're not of the Lord in this time, even though they're teaching all this shit. So it's a method to all the madness, and the method is Yahweh Shai. But a lot of guys, because they of the elders and men of this world and false prophets out there, they're not really following Yahweh Shai with all their prophecies. They're following the world, which that's why a lot of guys are going to be destroyed too. The gate is wide to destruction because the majority guys are rebelling against Yahweh Shai and following the old ways, old laws of Moses that these corrupt elders and these men are following, which that's not going to do nothing but keep you in the flesh. When Yahweh Shai came, he was another way to get you to the spirit, to have you worship the Lord in your mind and with your heart and with love. Now, when you do that, then you'll be able to see. Now we see that the majority of you fucking guys out there, bro. Hey, the majority of you fucking guys, man, it is heavy, the state that guys are in these last days. It's really heavy. They're in a demonic carnal mind frame, and just remember, all you carnal motherfuckers that's keeping them carnal laws and the carnal this and the carnal lamb and the carnal high holy days and shit like that and the carnal dates and the carnal new moons. Understand that this world's dying away. So the old laws of Moses, they died away when the Lord came. So you're not going to make it in these times if you're in a carnal fucking mind frame. You have to be in the spirit of the new covenant. You have to be understanding the spirit. These guys keeping you in the flesh, man, they were set up to keep you in the flesh. but only a few men are going to be able to advance to the spirit. And with that, shalom.
They look thirsty! Well, let's give them something to drink! To the cliff!